Welcome to Force Behind the Oche, the podcast where we shine the light on the people powering the sport of darts. In this very first episode, we are kicking off with someone who became one of the most recognisable voices of the game, Sky Sports presenter and Winmau ambassador, Emma Paton. Thank you so much for coming in today. Basically, you have been catapulted into the forefront of darts broadcasting. So for anyone tuning in who might not know yet who you are, can you describe what you do in a nutshell?
Oh, God, okay. Not prepared for that opening question. In a nutshell, I present the sport, I guess. So everything, how you see things looking on Sky, I suppose I'm the kind of lead for everything you see
Face.
in your front room. Face, I don't know about that. But so just leading Sky's darts coverage. I, like you said, kind of been catapulted into it. But suddenly the sport is booming at the moment. And, it kind of skyrocketed a little bit. So I don't think any of us really expected that. But so I suppose like the front face of, Sky's darts coverage is the best way to put it.
Okay, so what does week to week look like for you?
So let's go through, say like a typical Premier League week, because this is maybe the easiest to kind of like navigate. And just from my darts point of view, traveling to said location on a Wednesday, maybe doing some prep for the show on whatever mode of transport, train, plane, whatever. Arriving at the location, doing a bit more work, maybe going for like a group meal with some of the team, on-screen and off-screen team, the Sky group, and then maybe filming some little extra bits as well if we've got any feature stuff to do or any preview material for the Thursday night. And then the Thursday comes around and before you know it, you're at work and, hours and hours before we go on air, putting in the final preparations. And I think there's a real assumption that you kind of just turn up and go on air and you're just able to kind of just speak. But a lot of preparation actually goes into that. It's not like you're reading a script or anything. So it's very you're just kind of you just want to be, knowing where the conversation's going, especially the build up. And then a lot of it's reactive. You don't know what's going to happen that night. There could be 5-9 dancers. That probably wouldn't happen, but you don't know what's going to happen. So you've kind of just got to be ready to adapt and react to different things. And the beauty of being in darts is that you're kind of so immersed in it week after week, which is a bit of a luxury really, because your preparation is, I guess, the week before and the week before and the weeks before or months before. So it's brilliant to be so immersed in something and involved in it on a week-to-week basis. But once we go on air at 7:00, it's just like showtime and go time. And you're live and then you've just got to roll with it basically.
Does it still feel surreal to you, the world that you've kind of been now immersed into? Does that feel still quite surreal?
I think going to certain venues, because it's you go to the O2 Arena, for example, for the Premier League finals night. And there, I think for the finals night this year, there were 15,000 people there. But you're looking up at some of the seating, and they are people say nosebleed seats. You're you can't even see the big screen, let alone see the player, let alone see the dartboard. So that is kind of surreal in that sense, because I think darts has just reached these kind of heights that it hadn't hit before.
Of course.
And now people are coming out in their droves to watch, barely be able to see anyone on this stage. So I think when you go to a huge arena like that, Berlin's kind of similar as well, where they're just such vast arenas and you've got over 10,000 people there and they're all there to just see this guy on the stage throw these little darts. And you're wow, this is really cool. So I never take it for granted. Especially somewhere like an O2, I'm this is really cool. There's been some, incredible performers, different kind of people perform in this place and entertain. I just think, darts is on the map now.
Yeah, and you get
this
to
is
step
very
out
cool. Step out and be part of it. Exactly.
Yeah, that's so
a very small part, but part of it.
Yeah, so big question that's been on everybody's lips. So do you play yourself? Or do you leave
play really badly? Yes,
Yes.
I leave it to the pros. So I think again, there's an assumption while you watch darts, you must be able to play darts. But I don't throw darts. So one of the first things I did when I started presenting darts was get a dartboard. So I thought this is let's get in the right frame of mind here. Let's throw some darts, work this whole thing out. But I'm still rubbish and just don't throw regularly. So I've got a load of different sets of darts that people have given me. Whether that's Winmau or Mark Webster, Phil Taylor, but I just they're just there.
So you can't throw darts, but you'll have the most epic dart collection.
I got a good dart collection.
I mean, that's a big claim to fame in itself. We obviously know how comfortable you now are under the lights, whether it's Ali Pali or Premier League, but your journey doesn't start in front of the camera, you started back in a different type of sport.
Yes.
Can you fill us in a little bit where your relationship with sport began?
Yeah, of course. Although, to be fair, you say like act comfortable in front of something. Like, it's funny how even now sometimes you don't feel completely like relaxed or, like, because it's just different situations. And yeah, live TV is just
you make
a
it
crazy
look
environment. Thank you. Yeah, I've always been someone, like, from as early as I can remember, just involved in sport and just loved sport. So that was from like literally like school sports day, being like winning a race. So being that person, that kid that was always like, I want to go for a kickabout with my brothers, or was like a fast kid in school, like would be winning sports days and stuff. So it was like everything was weirdly, like, my whole life has been kind of like rooted in sport in some sort of way. And that's, sort of played a big part in my identity, is how I feel. So when I was at school, played all sort of sports teams and stuff, like county level, regional level, and then athletics kind of just, I found that, I suppose, just because I was a kid who was like reasonably fast, reasonably fit, and people were like, you know what, you should go to an athletics track, because I think you'd actually like go and burn some calories, go and like run some energy, go around in circles. So that was sort of, I just found it, or it found me, I don't know. And I kind of took it more and more seriously as I got a little bit older. Ended up going to Loughborough University, but again, only because I was really like sport crazy. Didn't really know what the end goal was. I just wanted to learn more about sport.
So it was sport as a whole.
Yeah, it was just sport.
But just happened to be really, really good at the 400-meter sprint.
Well, don't know about that. I was okay. I fell short of my dreams, so I'm not scared to, put that out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
But we had ambitious dreams, but didn't make it, so, which is fine. At least we tried.
And at what point did you realise that it was a sport as a whole that intrigued you, and therefore uni was the right route for you, rather than the keeping on going and trying the elite athlete route?
Well, I tried for a bit. So I did my like undergraduate degree and trained alongside that. And then it was only towards the end of that course that I was like really thinking about going into sports media. And purely because a friend of mine had done some work experience at a newspaper and she hated it. She was like, it's the worst few days of my life. But mate, why don't you do that? And she was just like, I think you'd enjoy that side of things. It's not that specific work experience, but more the kind of, sports media side. If you're not competing week in, week out, how about you or the person talking about the competing or writing about it or whatever, however that might kind of come out. So I sort of went down that route. I was finishing my undergraduate degree and then looked at courses it was a master's in the end, but in sports journalism, because I thought, how can I kind of bridge the gap? Because I've studied sports science, so no one in sports media really wants to know too much about sports science, but it was still sport related, but ended up doing a master's in sports journalism.
I guess in some ways though, that's what separates you out, is you having so much knowledge about what any athlete in any field is going through from your sports.
Whatever level. It's like, at least I sometimes think, at least I've stood on a start line in some capacity and, put myself through that.
And put yourself through the 3 years of studying, what that means to them. Like you've kind of ticked all the boxes, which is great. So when you started at Sky in 2012, right? What were those early days like, working off camera, behind the scenes of that side of the world?
And it wasn't early days, it was like early years. It was like years this went on. So my first job was as a written journalist. So writing like news stories for skysports.com or like the apps that we have now. And then that I kind of navigated my way down to Sky Sports News, and I was working on the breakfast show in Sky Sports News effectively, but on the production team. So this was like, the hours were not nice. They were horrific. So you had to be at your desk at 3 a.m. So this was, at a time, like my alarm was 2:10. That was the latest I could possibly like push it. 2:10 alarm, just flashbacks of that.
The fact that that's still in your brain now.
2:10, 2:10, 0 to 10. And only one. I'm not someone who needs a load, because once I just hear that alarm, you just got to get straight up. Like there's no snoozing.
You don't want to listen to it again.
No snoozing at that time of day. So be at your desk by 3, and then you clocked off at midday. So it sounds like, nice early finish, but you're dead because you've barely slept. So I was on a production team doing those hours for 6-7 years, and that was a lot of, I really wanted to present. I really wanted to be kind of in front of the camera, but I was doing a lot of the work behind the scenes for a long time. It felt like a long time, but when I look back now, I think it all kind of led me to where I am now.
Yeah.
And it's all additive. Like there's nothing all of that helped.
Yes, it built you up. The understanding
Definitely.
probably makes you appreciate the team you now have around you when you're
For sure.
presenting in front.
100%.
So obviously everything then changed in the moment you met with WWE star Triple H. For those that don't know, what a film that was to what actually happened. Everybody loves a story time.
So for people who just never heard of WWE before, obviously
maybe go that far
back. Triple H, kind of like a big name in wrestling, and completely like a weird situation, because I was on that early production team that we've just spoken about, and I was like banging on doors trying to get opportunities, and I wasn't sort of the loudest person in the room. I'd say I want to present and then not really do loads about it, apart from, you know, doing the day-to-day work and working hard. But I wasn't someone who was kind of like every day saying, right, put me on camera. But there were a few people who were, I suppose, championing me and saying, right, maybe like what could, you know, let's think of a grand strategy here. How can you get, you know, where you want to be? If you want to be presenting on Sky Sports News, how do we get there? And there was so little sort of, there wasn't a path really. So I was trying to kind of build up, you know, on camera experience, which is so hard when you don't do that. So it's that cycle of, wait, you need more experience. How do I get the experience? You know, how do we work towards that? So one of my friends was the editor of the WWE section of our website and Sky Sports. Right. It was basically like a one-man team. It was just him. When Sky had the rights to WWE, because they would just effectively take a feed, you know, SmackDown, Raw, put it on TV. But he would go to certain events when WWE came over to the UK. So he said to me, there is an event in London at the Royal Albert Hall. If you want to come along, just almost like it's a bit of a shadowing experience, see how it all works. Right, we're going to, you know, we'll go to a press conference where these guys are going to turn up and take some questions. Then we're going to go and watch the event, just follow us around, see how it all works. And we're going to write some stories for the website. And, you know, if you want to do that as well, go for it. So I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I'm on a day off. I'll come down, see how it all works. Like nervous, even though I'm literally just going to watch something. And rock up to Royal Albert Hall. First of all, we go into, it's kind of like a media little drinks thing, and then go into this room where there's a top table set up for this, almost like imagine like a football sort of type style of press conference.
Gotcha.
And then you've got all the media at the back. So then the kind of entourage comes in, ready for the press conference, and you've got Triple H, then you've got Shawn Michaels, couple of, you know, sort of old school wrestlers, and they're sort of bodyguards and stuff, and they're doing this press conference, taking questions about the event in the UK, people asking about, you know, the growth of wrestling over here. And then the guy that I was with, the editor, sort of like elbows me and is like, ask a question. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I was like, what about? And he's like, I don't know, like women's wrestling, you know, you're like, just ask a question. So then before I know it, I've like got my hand up and they're like, yeah, you.
Nothing.
And everyone's sort of staring at me and I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I saying? And so I get these words out. I can't even remember exactly what I said, but it was something about, you know, how do you look at the growth of women's wrestling over here in the UK, something. And Triple H sort of lit up because it was someone asking about women's wrestling for one. Okay. I think I was the only female in the room at that point. Yeah. And it was a topic that, I mean, it was sort of very much on the up in the States at this time. This was like 8 years ago. So, yeah, he's kind of gave an answer. And that I think was the last question of the whole sort of press conference. Then they wrapped it up. And then they're walking out and Triple H comes over to me to sort of, I was thinking, I was going to say, introduces himself, asked my name, said, you know, thanks for the great question. Yeah. I might have an exclusive for you at some point. So I was thinking, what? Like, is he just being polite? So maybe it's what he does, you know? Is this how he operates? And then the guys were like, well, oh my God, I can't believe he just came over and spoke to you like that. Like, that's really cool. Like, Triple H knows you. I was like, yeah, he knows me. Cool. And then weeks later, he had this exclusive. So his person got in touch with Sky and the editor that had kind of dragged me along to this event and said, oh, we've got an exclusive for Emma. There's going to be this all women's pay-per-view in New York. And Triple H would like to invite Emma to come and cover it for Sky. So it was just something out of nothing. that you're kind of just, you know.
Yeah. So the point the whole office is probably going, which
They were like, no, honestly, I was like, Emma who? Like, what? Can Emma go out and do that? I don't know. Emma like just literally sits on a production team and just like, you know, edits interviews for us. So it was all just born out of something so like that, and then ended up going out to New York, covering this event, which was, you know, doing little pieces to camera, doing some stuff for Sky Sports social channels, all this stuff. But it meant that I almost built up a bit of a show reel from this one thing that I went to.
Work experience that you'd never ever get any other point. Yeah.
And you're just sort of thrown into something, a bit of a kind of like fight or flight thing, you know, sink or swim, like you go out, see how you do. Absolutely loved it. Obviously I was really nervous because I was just like, this is my make or break moment, which it wasn't. Like, you know, I do that for everything. Everything's like, feels like it a make or break at the time, doesn't it? But it's because you just kind of move through the levels and stuff. So yeah, that was a weird situation where I suddenly got a load of experience randomly through this kind of chance meeting, and, you know, putting myself out there a little bit, having the kind of courage to ask something in this really random environment. And from that managed to put together a bit of a show reel, and then different parts of Sky or different people maybe saw me in a slightly different way, I don't know, or, you know, it opened more doors basically.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, obviously you did things like the US Open, which is huge, the trading window and things like that for that sort of things. So that's really, really cool. But then 2022 comes around, Laura Woods has left Sky Sports, you kind of get that break into the world of darts for the first time. What went through your mind stepping into that role?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. I mean, so it initially came around during COVID. So, and I actually, when I look back now, I almost think, you know, people say everything happens for a reason. It was almost the timing of that for me was perfect, because darts then was one of the first sports to kind of come back and really kind of evolve when there were no fans around. Darts, you feel like, is a completely different product without any fans, because the fans really make it what it is. But for me, I was kind of just thrust into this, do you want to have a go? Like, the initial conversation was, how do you feel about darts? Do you like darts? Like, what do you know about darts? So I was like, I know a base level of stuff. I know like a decent amount, but not, you know, I'm not a kind of an expert at the moment. But I wasn't needed to be an expert then. The idea was, you come in and, you know, a bit of a fresh kind of feel, I suppose. And Dave Clark had presented darts for like 30 years, so it was just a big change, and I felt that, and it was like, oh my god, how's this going to go? But I think the fact that I came in during COVID kind of meant that it was a bit of a transition, because it was a different look anyway, presenting without fans, and kind of eased myself in. Laura was still doing like a little bit then at the World Championships, and then it kind of just snowballed from there, really.
So what surprised you the most about the darts community? As the community changed a lot during lockdown, more people started playing at home, people were getting interested in it that would never have been interested in it before, girlfriends were wanting to play, all that kind of thing. How did you feel being a part of that darts community when you first kind of came into it?
Well, I think the most surprising thing was just how welcoming it was. More because when you're stepping into something in a real unknown, and also it was a very kind of tight-knit sort of group, whether that I'm talking about like, you know, the people that work in at Sky, on screen, off screen, the players, you know, it's like this kind of moving sort of circus where everyone, you kind of pick it up and then it's in the next location and everyone's there. So it was kind of like new day at school, but not just that. It was just like, like moving to a new area completely and not knowing anyone. And you're just like, I don't know how this is going to go, because especially they'd worked with Dave for so long, and he was their sort of like leader. And then you're kind of stepping in, and especially if you're not sort of from the sport as well, you know, not like I was a former player or anything like that. Or it's just very different. But I think, the thing that stood out, and I've worked in a lot of different sports, a lot of different sort of departments, I suppose, at Sky, and it was more just like how welcoming everyone was, and how, not that other areas haven't been, but just how, I don't know, everyone was just so open to sort of, me coming in, new face.
Real family.
Being different, proper family vibe, like community. And everyone just kind of like wants everyone to sort of, you know, succeed, and everyone's building everyone up. So I was like, okay, I can be down for this. I can work with this.
So we see the big nights and the wild crowds and all that sort of thing. What's something fans don't realise about working in darts week in, week out? Because it obviously all looks so glitzy, glamoury, lots of things going on all at the same time. What's the kind of nitty-gritty of it look like that people wouldn't expect?
I think it's still very sort of darts, like but I say that because I think there's a real charm about darts. The fact that it is so, it's not always so glam, and so it's just like everyday people, and just I think that's what's actually so like the beauty of it, really. So I mean, even say like a Premier League night. Once we've kind of done our little sort of build up 20 minutes, I'm then spend the whole night just sitting by the side of the stage where the players are walking up and down. And so they're, we always have like funny little conversations when they're coming off stage, depends how they've performed. But it's like, it's not all this sort of, you don't turn up. I mean, Exeter's a great example of the Premier League where I turn up and it's always freezing at the time of the year. The Exeter Premier League rolls around, which is like February, March time. And there is no makeup room, so you basically which some of this is the thing when you're working with predominantly men as well, because they don't realize that you need good lighting to do makeup. It's like, can we just like get ready in this venue, and we've got like this black curtain to kind of shield you, but we're like, we kind of need like a light in here because otherwise we can't really see what we're doing. And I always remember the first time I'd ever turned up to said venue, and the floor manager, who is lovely by the way, but he brought like this tiny little lamp, and we were like, this is not going to cut it.
Just a little sofa lamp.
No, we need a proper light, because otherwise I don't know how I'm going to look on it. But so it's not always. I think that's, again, like I said, the beauty of darts, though. We're getting ready in changing rooms or toilets, or, you can be getting ready anywhere, basically.
Yeah, wherever.
But, everyone's in it together, though. So it's always like, we make it work. It's a good vibe.
Now, you've already mentioned about the fact that obviously it has always been seen as a very male-dominated sport on and off the screen. How has it been for you carving your space into that, in terms of being a woman now entering that space?
Yeah, I think I joined when there was a bit of a change anyway. Playing wise, the year I joined the team in 2020 was off the back of Fallon breaking the glass ceiling. So she'd already kind of like put women on the map, I suppose, in like again, and kind of piqued this real interest. It was almost like a mini Littler sort of phenomenon, when she won those couple of matches at the World Championship. So, that was a time when she was on breakfast TV, on Good Morning Britain, like Billie Jean King was tweeting about her. So it was like, I felt like in terms of women and darts, she'd already sort of like broken, new ground with that. So I came in at a time off the back of that, and then she went on to do even crazier things, like make the quarterfinals at the Grand Slam and push Michael van Gerwen at the on the World Series in Copenhagen. So like sort of in terms of women playing darts, it felt like it was in a really good place because she was kind of moving things forward. And then even after that now, like Bo is winning titles on the development tour, challenge tour, and she'll end up getting a tour card, she could. So and it sounds like she's going to be playing at the PDC World Championship this year as well. So like, be incredible to just see her mix it with the guys on kind of the biggest stage. So it felt like things were already moving in that direction in terms of like on the stage. And then I think in terms of the broadcast side of stuff, Laura Woods had been presenting darts, so she was kind of like a familiar face, and with the sport, a key figure in the sport. And then even look at it now, we've got like the best female commentator in Nora Turner. Both of our reporters are female. There's a lot of sort of female figures basically, involved in the Sky coverage, and also like behind the scenes as well, whether that's, one of our sound girls, Lucy, whether that's, girls working in the truck, director's assistant, producers. So it's, things are sort of changing, certainly from when I started at Sky as well, which was like 12, 13 years ago. So.
So we're seeing so many more girls that are coming up through the JDC. As you said, there's ones that are now getting to play on the main stage, which is incredible. But if you were a young woman watching yourself on stage and thinking about that could be me, what would you say to them?
As in playing or
either playing, presenting, like being a woman now coming into the sport, be that in
I think it's like I said, I mean, the sport was already super welcoming, and I hope all girls out there have had that experience, wherever they have been playing. But it's all ever like any young girls want to talk to me about these days is darts.
That's amazing.
Like, honestly, and I'm talking when I go to football events, it's all like mums. It's not even, it could be whether it's like other, work related things, sport related. Mums or girls want to talk to me about is darts. Like nothing else. So that's kind of speaks volumes. But I'm just like, I think just darts is a super accessible and inclusive sport, hence why, men and women play alongside each other anyway. So I'm kind of hoping that comes across for young girls and continues to.
Yeah, I think you're also making it very accessible, the fact that, there gets to be different positions within that space as well. You don't have to be playing the darts, you can be presenting the darts.
Yes,
so you
exactly.
can be working.
You don't always have to be good at playing darts.
No. That's it. Yeah, you can still have an epic dart collection.
Yes.
But do you feel a responsibility as a role model in some ways now for young girls wanting to come up through, not necessarily playing darts, as more this kind of presenting side? Do you feel now that you're a face to the brand that you feel that responsibility as a role model?
Yeah, I guess so. And I always try and kind of be open to anyone who wants to sort of like talk about, if they want to kind of enter that world of sports broadcasting, or definitely like I feel like I've got a lot to give in that area purely because I feel like I've done so many different roles and worked my way up, and it took a long time to get there. So it's a good story about persistence and resilience, and
Absolutely.
if you've got some way,
you do it.
The dream never stops. But yeah.
No, I love that. So just to kind of tie this a little bit up, who is Emma behind the camera when Emma is switched off and at home? Who is that with?
Very chilled out.
Yeah.
So
I
always, very chilled out. For like, I always have like my best plans are like the plans of doing nothing. So I love the weekends that I get to when I don't have any work, and then I'm like, okay, the best thing that I'm going to do here is just chill out on the sofa all day and not do a lot. So obviously I enjoy training and running, and that's kind of always going to be part of my life.
The sprinting hasn't quite ever defined.
Well, not so much sprinting these days as jogging. So I think that will always just be a part of like life, really, health and fitness and stuff. But Emma behind like working is a lot of doing nothing and just chilling out.
That's great.
I feel like
when your life is on the
recharge the
road
batteries.
And moving, you've got to. So on to the exciting part of today, which is the fact that you are now officially a Winmau ambassador. But you've been a part of the Winmau family for a while, haven't you?
Yes.
What drew you to the brand?
Okay, well, first of all, Winmau is obviously at every event we have. The dartboards are everywhere, okay, guys? We're everywhere. But I think just obviously the fact that Winmau is just synonymous with just darts as a whole and kind of the leading, darts brand out there. So it was always just a done deal, basically. When I was asked to I think the first thing I ever worked on with Winmau was the launch of some of their new products a number of years ago. This is going back years. So to be involved in any capacity, I was like, I'm there. Cool. Do I get a new dartboard? Yeah. Because I've needed one for some time, but then Lee's telling me, just move it around, spin it around a little bit, it'll be fine.
But now have you had your new dartboard?
I'll get one.
Is there a memory or moment with Winmau that kind of stays with you?
I think probably just that first time working with them and working together at the launch, a number of years ago, and just, meeting the team. Obviously, I think there are certain players who are massively synonymous with the brand, like Michael Van Gerwen, Luke Humphries, another one, Price. But I've obviously worked with Webby at Sky for years and years and years. And we had an ongoing thing. When I first got my dartboard, I was like, you need to gift me some darts. Because Wayne was the first person to give me 2 sets of his darts, a gold set and a silver set, and Webby hadn't for years. And he's obviously like a Winmau Red Dragon. So I was like, you need to, what's going on with these darts? Like, I need some of your darts. So now he finally gave me some darts, and they're my kind of go-to set of darts.
Nice.
So Webby and, the Winmau is like
tidings for me. Yes, exactly. Love that. And what do you think makes Winmau stand out in the dart world? Is there one thing in particular that you would nail it down to?
I think the ability to evolve constantly. That's probably the thing that stands out the most, because how do you keep evolving the perfect dartboards and these kind of, and even for players, a good example that comes to mind is Luke Humphries, the year when he won the world championship, and he had a match with Riccardo Pietreczko where I want to say the point broke on his darts, and he's someone who really needs his darts kind of really like worn in. And he was obviously handed a new set and just didn't like playing with them because they weren't so worn in. Came so close to losing that match. And I think the guys literally like shipped in some darts and then wore them in, all this stuff. I don't even know how they did it or what they did, but got them to him. He went on to win the world championships. Who knows what he would have done if that hadn't happened. But I think it's all about kind of marginal gains and, you know, do small tweaks here and there. I mean, Peter Wright, looking at his darts up there, he's got about 70,000 different sets.
Yeah.
But kind of, you know, like, what are the things that we can do to help these players and elevate them? And yeah, like I say, with the dartboard as well, I'm like, how do you keep coming up with new things and pushing the boundaries here?
And we always will. No, that's amazing. We thank you so much for coming in today. It's been lovely to sit and have a chat with you and learn all more about your career.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we look to see what comes next. Thank you so much for tuning into Force Behind the Oche. We have had the wonderful Emma with us today. Thank you so much for coming in. And make sure to follow along to listen out for our next episode of Force Behind the Oche. Thanks, guys.